Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to try to set up, and we're going to get this class going. I know it's probably been better if I did this in segments, but I'm still a little bit rusty, and I don't know, I'm having a hard time recording solid videos like I did before, and I really want to get this done. So I figured the best way we can do this is by doing a live and having you guys along for the ride. So I hope you enjoy this class, and I hope that it helps you out with your creations. So you can get out there and make that money, and then remember Zero, who taught you everything, and then donate to her when you make it big. Or while you're still small. I don't know. I don't care. I would like donations. Okay. So, hi everyone, and welcome to another Mighty Ginkgo tutorial. My name is Zero, and I'll be your instructor for this lesson. This is hopefully going to be a full class lesson for making clothes for the Toxic Goddess Athena. Now, if you didn't know, Athena is one of the biggest starter bodies on the open sim. Everybody has her, and she has a really strong Kirkwood kind of feel to her that looks like it's, well, you know what? Why beat around the bush? This is really a knockoff of the Maitreya lore. But it's a generally accepted. Everybody uses it, and so we are going to show you how to make stuff for it, because no matter where you go on the open sim, they are guaranteed to find Athena or Apollo or Ares or whichever, and you're going to need to know how to make stuff for it if you want to survive in the wasteland, something like that. So, all of the materials that you need is going to be in the description, so you can just pick up the dev kit and all the rest of the tools. But if you took any of my previous classes, you already have everything that you need for it. I'm going to say right off the bat that I'm going to be using the old blender for making this stuff go. And not even just one old blender. I'm going to be using two old blenders in order to make things go. And this is for a very specific reason. It's not solely because I don't know how to use the newer versions of Blender, but hold on, sorry, kitten screen. I'm trying to make sure that the mom isn't sitting on it because she likes to slam her body on the babies. All right, it was just one scream. She got him up. Okay, so like I was saying, there's multiple reasons for me using the old Blender, and one of them, most importantly, is that Second Life and OpenSim was created in the era of these blenders. So all of the tools that work best for this are here for this blender. Now I know there are still some tools that are made for the newer versions of it, but they cost money and they aren't discontinued, so I can't give them out. These tools are discontinued, and they were made for it during the heyday, so they were like rigorously updated before the creators kind of, scooted out or gave you a buggy version of whatever. So one of the things that I would really like to do is wonder why my count is going down. Oh, no, sorry. Gotta stay focused, professional. So that's why I'm using these old tools. Now, I know like later on you can do this in, what do you call it? One blender. But just think of it as learning home cooking or starting with training wheels on. I'll show you this method because it's really easy and it's fast. But as you progress, to help you get your feet wet and your legs strong in 3D working and, this kind of medium. And then once you get your legs and got a good feel for it, you can progress on to newer versions and so on and so forth. I think one of the biggest reasons why I'm not using a new one is that the new versions are constantly updated. So if I was to say use this version and do this Y, Z, by the time I finish this video, it's going to be a new version of Blender out, and then everything I just said is going to be obsolete, and you're going to be looking at me like, hey Zero, make the new video version of it for the new version of Blender. And it's an endless cycle that never stops. So we're going to work with the one that is already done, no changes. When you watch this video, it's going to still be exactly the same as when you tried, and then once you get the feel for it, you can go. Okie doke. Now that we got that straightened out, let me tell you about what we are going to be doing and what we're going to use. So we're going to be using the dev kit that I made, and this dev kit contains the blend file for Blender. It has the Blender add-ons that are critical to this thing functioning, and it has some extra stuff like tippy toe feet and some textures for you guys to play with. feel like there's something else. So we got Blender, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make clothes, and we're going to use Marvelous Designer 2. I use that because, you know, like I said, old software, old rules, they don't really stab you or come after you for giving out old stuff. So we're just skirting into the gray zone. And it's, you know, easier to find around. Very easy. And good to use. I would love to use Substance Painter to show you how to do textures, but I'm just learning Substance Painter myself, so I can't teach you that one. But I did learn Photoshop, so I can show you how to at least texture your stuff in Photoshop. The clothing that we're going to make in Marvelous Designer is just a standard t-shirt and a pair of pants, because once you learn how to make a pair of pants and a t-shirt in Marvelous, everything else just kind of clicks. It's kind of like once you learn it, you can pretty much make any garment for inside there, because basically it's just drawing the shape of the clothes, sewing it together, and then putting it on the avatar. Only a few other things like skirts and dresses and certain kinds of t-shirts where you have to deviate and actually, you know, pattern. But really, it's just drawing a shape. Okay. I guess that's everything we have gone over. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them inside the chat. I'm here. And if there's anything wrong with the stream, like it goes down or is laggy or my mic goes out, please let me know, because I won't know unless you tell me, because I'm not watching the stream. I think it is, but I don't get to see it like y'all do. Okay, I think that's everything. So now that we have everything sorted out, and you hopefully took the time to download all the stuff while I was talking, let us begin the class. Well, in a minute, I gotta take a sip of water. Oof, we get heartburn. Okay. Okay, now we can begin the class. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a new workspace. I'm going to be opening up my favorite Blender, and that's Blender 2.79. When you open up Blender 2.79, it should look something like this, with a cube in the middle, a light, and cube, camera, light, all inside your workspace. Don't even bother trying to learn it. Forget it. We're not even going to use it. It's just there for decoration. What we want to do is we want to bring in the dev kit into Blender. I'm going to slide this over here. Okay. So now I can see if somebody's saying something. Whew. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to go to the folder with our dev kit in there, and we want to take our .blend file. We want to click on it and drag it into our workspace. When you have it, your workspace will transform, and it should look something like this, with the body and textures over to the side. Now, I don't know if you guys need to know how to install plugins and add-ons, but there's plenty of videos that show you how to do that. Oh, you know what? I hate it when people say that in tutorials. I'm watching it to learn. Just show me. So I'm going to show you how to install plugins. So what we need to do is install the basic plugins that allow this to work. This is what we call in the industry an Avatar rig. That means that in order to export, you need to have the Avatar plugin. So luckily we have an old version that works with this that is included inside the dev kit, and all you have to do is go inside that dev kit, go to Blender options, select the address, cut, go back into Blender, go to file, then user preferences, and then go down here to the bottom of the page where it says install add-ons from file. Click on that, go up to the top where the address is at, click, then press Ctrl V and paste it in, press enter, and you should see the files that we need to install. Now you need to install each one of these one at a time, and as you can see, they're already in the .zip format. .zip and .py are the primary add-on formats that work with Blender. You don't have to unzip the files. In fact, it's very encouraged that you never unzip the files unless stated to, which is almost never, so never unzip the file, and you're just going to select it and then press install from add-on. Now I've already have this installed, so it's not going to do anything, and if you can just type in Avatar and type this little search box, you'll see that it has the plugin info and a little checkbox next to the name. You want to check that box and that will activate the plugin. Now you want to do this more. Oh, hang on. Because I swear somebody just texted me just now. Guess it was just my imagination. Nope. Oh, no, it's just an ad from Instacart. Sorry. Okay. So you want to do that a couple more times and install the rest of the plugins. Go to install, select the next one, check the box. Install, go to the next one, check the box, and then all of them should be installed. Now, once you have everything installed, you need to save your settings, because if you close it, it's not going to save. They did update that in the later versions where it automatically saves, but back here in the old days, we had to manually save. So make sure you press the Save User Settings and then close the box. No comments? Okay. Guys are following along. That's nice. So now that we got the plugins ready, we're ready to use the add-ons to make our stuff go. First thing we need to do is we need to activate the layer that contains the bones. In my dev kit, almost always, the bone layer is placed underneath the first layer, which is usually the body layer. These boxes down here on the bottom bar are called layers. And just like layers inside of your favorite drawing program, each little box contains its own little workspace that is independent from each other. However, by pressing Shift and selecting one of the boxes, you can activate multiple layers at once. If you have a whole bunch of layers you can also that you need to activate, instead of clicking each one at a time, you can click and hold down the button. I was going to say box. That's fine. You just click and then you drag your mouse across the box and you will activate all the layers that you want. You can also deselect layers by going back and clicking on them like so, and that will unselect them. When a layer is active, the box will shade and turn dark, and you will know that those two are active. If you notice that there are dots inside the box, that means that there is some sort of data inside of that layer, even if you can't see it, which is common with my dev kits, because at the very end of the layer is always a trash stuff where I like to throw parts that aren't needed, but the data needs to stay. I just like to make it clean. Okay, so let's go back to what we were talking about and activate the body and the bone layers. Hang on 1 second. Be safe! Sorry, husband going to the store. Okay, so now that we have the layers done, we are going to explain what all of this means, because I'm sure you're wondering, what are these little sticks and diamonds and dingly things that's hanging out of your face? What are these things and what do we do with them? Well, my dear, these are what we call bones. And just like the bones that you have inside your body, these bones control the mesh being the body. So if we were to click on the bones, you would see that if we just move it around, the body moves with it. But if we want to fine tune our movements, we would have to select the bones right here and then go down to the bottom bar and, oh, you know what? Hold on. I forgot to turn on display keys. We would just select the bottom bar and switch over to pose mode. And as you see, the bones change color. There's blue ones and orange ones, and purple ones too nowadays. I forgot about that. And these bones all have some sort of control over the body. Now, maybe you're wondering, how does the bones control the body? Well, it controls the body through what we like to call weights. Yeah, weights. They used to be called bone heat, and that's something that Blender has. I'm not sure if any other 3D things call it bone heat, but it's called weighting. And each bone is weighted to a segment of the mesh and that has, control over it. I'm sure that sounds all kinds of confusing, but once I break it down, it'll get easy for you. In fact, we're kind of sort of skipping ahead a lot by talking about it. So I don't know, would it be easier to explain that to you now? Or should we explain it to you later when we get to the actual clothes making? We already here talking about bones. Why not throw out the weight? So, first let me tell you about what these bones are and what they do, okay? So, Avastar likes to color coordinate everything to make it easier for you to understand. In fact, to make it easier for you to see, I'm going to go over to the Avastar tab and we're going to click on Rig Display, and I'm going to turn on the extra bones, these hind bones and everything else. Okay. So as you see, there are multiple colors here. We have blue, we have red, and we have purple. The blue bones are the original Second Life bones, and these are the simple skeleton. If you will hear people say when you're working in Second Life creation, now I know this is for OpenSim and Avatarlife, but standard is Second Life, and it's just easier for me to say that because I'm so used to saying it. So when I say the Second Life bones, it's just universal. So, hang on, somebody just messaged me. Somewhere. A friend? What? Hang on, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I got multiple messages. Is my camera on? Fly isn't down, is it? Okay. Sorry about that. So like I was saying, even though we're on OpenSim and Open Grid and on Avatarlife, we keep so used to saying Avastar. Avatarlife, Second Life is just the common terminology for all of this. So when I say the Second Life skeleton, that's the universal skeleton for all stuff in the metaverse that's based on Second Life. So yeah, it does work with OpenSim. Just, change it. So, with that said, let's continue on. The blue bones are called classic bones. You'll hear that term a lot. Well, not so much these days, but the blue bones are the original skeleton that made up Second Life skeleton, and it's a very simple rig. I'm just going to turn it off so you can see it, and it just contains hand, lower arm, upper arm, clavicle, chest, torso, pelvis, upper leg, lower leg, foot, neck, and head. And then, the opposite stuff, like left arm, left hand, all the rest of that stuff. Very simple rigs. And that was the very basic of stuff. Then we have the volume bones, which are shown here in red and are in diamond shape, so you know definitely what they are. And these are also called fit mesh bones. Now, fit mesh bones is a fancy way of saying that these bones dictate Second Life slider system and physics system. So if you were, for example, to manipulate the bone right here, the left pec bone, and give it more weight and influence, when you go to use the shape slider for your chest, these bones would affect how much influence that chest slider would have. It's the same thing for, the butt bone, which I still laugh, try my best to be mature, but I still laugh. That and your upper leg is when you're trying to do things like your thighs and, I forgot what the word they have for making your thighs fat. Is it the love handles? The love handle is up here, like the left handles and your chunky thighs, stuff like that. These are what those are. They're just more points for it, but they are the Second Life deformer bones. Then fast forward a little more, and we have the introduction of the bento bones. And the bento bones are shown in purple and include things like the hind legs, the extra complex stuff when you're going into avatar creation and so on and so forth. So, there. Do you need to have all of these bones? No. In fact, you can't have all of these bones. Second Life has a limit, or the whole Second Life engine has a limit on how many bones you can have. while the bones in total are like 19 to 126 bones, you're only allowed to use 110 bones inside of your rig. So you're going to need a method to reduce the bones if you were to accidentally put too many bones on there. And that goes into weight painting and that whole script that I had you install, the remove unused vertex groups. Also, bones are, like, fun fact, bones are actually called vertex groups. These are just visual representation of each group. So now you know. Okay, I'm sure that was a whole lot to grasp and take in, so I'm going to move on to the fun stuff and explain weight painting. So we're going to turn off all of these bones right now, and we are going to scroll up to the settings in your Avatar menu. You're going to want to switch from going to basic to experimental, because that's where all the fun happens. And then once you have experimental turned on, you want to check this little box right here that says skin and weight. Hello, welcome. So when you turn on the skin and weight one, it will show you pretty much a basic Second Life bento skeleton with all the common bones that are used in things. Do you have to use all of them? Again, no. And again, you can't. But they put them there for you anyway. I'm glad it's a help. But they'll put them in there for you to use anyway. If you want to, okay, so they'll put them in there for you anyway. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, so this is a bento skeleton, and I'm going to show you about weights. Let's use this model as an example. As you saw when we selected the bone and we pressed the R key, we're able to rotate the bones and make the bones move. As you see, as we move the leg bone, the body responds to it because the body is weight painted to have influence, let the leg bone have influence over the body. If we were to go and select the body and go into weight paint mode, you're able to see what the influence on the body is. Now, in most bodies, they skip in and put all on the fit mesh bones. So I'm going to select the diamond, and there you go, and you should see a series of colors on the body that looks similar to a rainbow. Actually, it is a pretty rainbow. Now, these colors are not just here to look pretty. They are a visualization of data to tell the bones how much influence it has over the mesh. Now I'm going to scroll on up, and we're going to go to Tools, and it will show you the menu that allow you to manipulate this data. So for right now, I am going to remove all of the weight data that's here for this upper bone. Okay. So you see how we click on the body? It's magenta. That means that there is no weights on there. Sometimes it's all blue. Like magenta means there's absolutely no data here. Blue means that there's slight data on there. So if you click it and you don't see anything, that means that it's got some data there, but it's not enough to really make it do anything. Because you see, we press R, it ain't doing nothing. Okay, here's time for Zero's famous explanation on weight painting. Okay, for real. Here's my famous explanation on weight painting to make it easier for you to understand. Blender allows you to paint the data of manipulation onto the mesh via a series of colors, going from blue to red. Blue being the coldest, or 0, and red being absolute power, or red or absolute power, or also 1. Think of it as a cartoon, which is why they called it heat in the first place. Remember in those cartoons, when things are super cold, they're blue, and when things are really hot, they turn red? Well, the redder a bone is, the more control it has over the mesh. So if we were to scoot this out of the way for a second, as you see, the bone is selected and the area around it is blue. That means that it has no control, registering totally at 0. If we were to turn the heat up a little bit to 1 and paint it all red right here, you see that when we move the bone, the leg is now moving. Hell, I think it's moving better than it did before I did that. But if we were to turn the temperature down and make it blue, you see that it's losing its influence over. The bone is losing its influence over the mesh and is reverting back to the starting position. So, as a rigger, what your job is to find the perfect temperature between hot and cold and make the mesh move in a way that looks good for you. I'm going to have to revert because I jacked up the weights for the body. And that's pretty much what weight painting is. Just painting it, rotating it, and moving it until things look the same, look nice. So I'm going to hit revert and get us our stuff back so I don't have janky weights. Now that's actually pretty much all there is to weight painting. So now that we got that down, I suppose the next step would be to make clothes for it. The fun part, duh. So what we're gonna need to do is select the body, and I want to choose the feet, make them flat. Hello, hello. Hello, are we still here? Sorry, the stream dropped. I think I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. I hope I'm back. Yeah, sorry, my stream dropped. My husband's downloading Mortal Kombat, so the internet is kind of butt. Alright, back to what we were, right? We were selecting the parts. So I'm just going to reselect everything and go back. Alright, so you want to turn on the screen display again? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to right click on the body, hold down shift, and select all the parts that we want our model to have. I want the hands, the arms, the body, and we don't need the head, but I guess it's okay to have the head. So we have our head, everything ready, and we need to export it as an OBJ. So if everything's selected, we're just going to go to the top and go File, Export, OBJ. Now you want to make sure that you have this box checked. It's very important. It says selection only. And because this has textures in it, we risk the alphas clipping inside of Marvelous Designer, making your avatar look very ghost-like. So we want to turn off the include UVs and write materials. We don't want that. Now, so we don't have to do this every single time we want to export an avatar. We can actually save this as a preset by checking this plus box right here and then naming it as, MD models, so you know which one it is, and hit OK. So, but if your textures don't have alphas in it, you don't have to do that. But I have more textures with alphas in it than not, so I do it just out of habit. So next thing we want to do is we want to go to our project folder, which in this case is my desktop, and then press Export OBJ. Okay, dokie. We're going to minimize Blender because we don't need it right now. And once we have that done, we're going to open up our Marvelous Designer. Sorry, it's been so long since I did this. I forgot where all my stuff is at. Now, I'm using the old Marvelous Designer for the fact that, I already told y'all why I'm using the old Marvelous Designer. I'm going to say it again. Okay, so if you downloaded Marvelous Designer 2, your screen should look something like this. In fact, more times than not, it doesn't look like this. Like, it looks like this. So what we need to do is we need to put on, if yours only has 4 buttons at the top, we need to change it so that you have more options. So go to the top bar here, right click, and then do 2D pattern toolbar. And this will help you with all the 2D tools that you need to make stuff. We're going to go over to the side and we're going to press New or Control N and remove everything from the workspace. Since we don't want to spend eternity trying to fit our clothes to the mannequin based on this mannequin, we're going to bring in the model that we exported from Blender. To do that, we go to File, Open, and then Avatar, and you want to find yours, your OBJ, and you want to press this little M button down at the bottom, and then hit OK. So now she pops in and has everything that we need. She's a little pale, but, you know, we still love her. I have MD9. Well, bless your heart. You and your MD9. The process is pretty much the same, give or take. It's just I have to use the old versions because that's the one that I can sort of kind of navigate with the gray zone. Wink. I can't do that with anything above that. But the process should still be the same. So, you know, just apply knowledge. Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's talk about Marvelous Designer, baby. There are two sides to your Marvelous Designer. There is the 3D side, where your 3D model is, and then there is the 2D model, where your 2D stuff is, the 2D window, where you'll be doing all your pattern making. This serves as two purposes. One, for you to draw the pattern that will become the fabric that will be sewn onto your model, and second, it is your UV maps for your clothes. So you don't have to worry about unwrapping or marking stuff for your clothes, because what you draw is what you have the texture on. Which is why when you're creating, you always want to create a gap in between each pattern piece. That way, when you have to go into Blender or whatnot, there's space between each one so you can select it easily and manipulate the pattern. Now, pattern making in Marvelous Designer kind of works in two ways. It was originally made as a software for designers, seamstress, tailors, costume makers, all those people, to test out their patterns in a 3D space so they don't have to waste materials trying to create the draft and pattern in real life, wasting this and having to send samples and stuff. They can modify and adjust and do their clothes inside here. So if you have any kind of skills when it comes to sewing clothes or making patterns, all you have to do is just apply that here and the simulation is the same. Now, if you are like me and you are a dirty 3D designer using this program for stuff before they said it was for dirty designers, we're using it just to make some clothes. And Marvelous Designer kind of sympathizes with us and allows you to just make clothes by just pretty much drawing the shape of the clothes and doing your best with it. So you don't have to know how to make patterns. All you really have to do, for the most part, is just make the shape of the clothes and then sew it together. Now, in the newer versions, you guys have all sorts of cool things, a lot more symmetrical tools and buttons and zippers and all the rest of that jazz. This ain't down here yet. We didn't come into that till like 4 or whatnot. Living my... Yes. That. So technically, in theory, when you put the when you design your clothes in Marvelous Designer, you can save the pattern and print the pattern out and then, you know, sew it in real life if you could. Theory. That's what it was made for. So you can do that if you want to. But we're not there for that. We're here for using it to make clothes. We want the stuff. So with that said, let's show you how to make the clothes, because I'm pretty sure that the icons are still the same even in the new ones. One sec, I gotta get some water. I have multiple ones, but that's because I own a stationery business. Okie doke. So here we go, artichoke. Let's explain the patterns. The first thing you need to learn is this guy right here. This will be your best friend. This is the polygon edit tool. With it, you can click and make any shape under the rainbow as long as you return back to the first dot. Now, I'm sure you just noticed something weird, how we were able to make this silly shape and nothing showed up. That's because in order for things to show up, you have to turn on the sync button in order for Marvelous to work in harmony with your 2D window. So you want to open up this box and you want to select this red little circle here that says sync. And now you see our pattern has come. And we can manipulate it in real time using this edit pattern button by selecting the dots and moving it and having the pattern update as we modify the pattern. Now, let's say we don't need some wacky shape and we need some very normal stuff like a long rectangle panel. You can just choose this rectangle tool, click and drag, and create yourself a nifty little rectangle without having to break your arm trying to do it freehand with the polygon edit tool. But, one thing to say about that polygon tool is that you can make straight lines and have a snappy grid if you hold down the shift button while you're creating. So in theory, you could make a rectangle tool panel, but you can just use the create rectangle. Now, if you need to select all of these patterns, like I'm about to do to get them out of the way, you can use the black arrow, and it allows you to select each piece of the pattern, and you can move and manipulate them all at once if you wanted to, or just use it to select and delete it like I just did. The next button that we're going to need and master is this one next to it called the Create Circle tool, and it allows you to create the impossible round circle freely and easily like we did with the rectangle, and again, not trying to do the impossible by creating it with the polygon tool. It's almost circle. To manipulate this, you can also use the white arrow again to edit the pattern, or you can use this swanky little edit curvature button here, and this will allow you to edit the curve of your circle and your pattern. To get a more detailed design inside of your pattern, you can use this right here, edit point, add point. I'm still using the other one, edit. Add point, and these will give you more brackets to work with to further redesign and edit your pattern. So neat. Next to our 2D tools right here is the same icons, but these are red. When they're red like this, these become internal pattern tools. This will allow you to add patterns to your pattern. For example, you can take this edit, what was that? This edit internal polygon thing, and you can make zigzags inside of your pattern. And the thing about the internal tools is, unlike the regular pattern tools, you don't have to return back to the first dot. You can just double click, and it will make the shape here. Now, these shapes can have multiple purposes. One of the things that you can do is that you can actually sew other patterns to these internal lines, or you can use them. I guess I can give an example of that. I'm going to freeze this pattern real quick so it stays in the air. Freeze. Okay, you can see the zigzag line. So let's say you have a pattern and you want to attach a piece of fabric to that. You can just take your sewing tool and go there, and you can sew it here. And I'm going to use this as an example of the other things that can be done with it. You can use your internal tool. Now, you can use your internal tool as well to create folds. So you can say, I want a straight fold or diagonal fold across it, and then manipulate this in the properties. So I'm going to turn my fold power up a lot. So I usually go like maybe 30 and then turn it this way, and you see we can have pleats or folds like this. And if you want to, you can make that into a string of elastic. So just turn on the elastic and then turn the ratio up, and you see you now have elastic. It's a string of elastic. So that's good for sharing, or certain types of ruffles, stuff like that. You can do it this way. So that's what the power of the internal tool is. Now, one of the best parts of the internal pattern tool is that you can also create nifty holes, inside of your pattern. So let's take the circle, because whoever heard of a square hole? It's all about the circle, baby. So we're going to create a small circle inside of it, and then we would use this tool here, the white arrow, right click on it, and then convert it as a hole. And now you see here we have a circle hole inside of the fabric. Now, you want to be careful when you're tearing holes inside of stuff. Fabric in this game, I mean, people say it's a game, and fabric inside this program have their own unique properties, and sometimes if you cut a hole inside of the fabric, it may just rip itself off of the body because the properties of the fabric. So I always say, if you're going to tear a hole into something, make sure that it's a small hole and then gradually make it bigger. Gradually make it bigger until everything works out. So be careful with that. So like the other tools, that one makes an internal circle, and this one makes an internal square, which is again what you can use for folds and convert that into a rare and unique square hole. Convert into hole. There you go. Square hole. Okay, so that's the internal tools, the selection stuff, and now we have to talk about sewing. So you can sew in either the 2D window or the 3D window. I'm almost exclusively a 3D window sewer person because I find it a lot easier to make sure that your seams are kept straight. So let's say we want to sew this piece of fabric to one of the seams that we have here. You just select this tool right here, the segment sewing. You want to click on the edge of the fabric that you want to sew on, and then you want to select one of the lines that are here. Now, it doesn't matter what color the lines are, they're chosen randomly, but what is important is making sure that your lines are straight. And what I mean by make sure your lines are straight is, let's say you click the edge of this and you click the edge over here, and then the lines then between the two are crossed in like this X, and we say, okay, just do that. As you see, the lines are twisted and wrong, because what it's telling Marvelous Designer to do is take this part and that part and then twist it up in the middle to connect each other, and then when you do that, you usually get something wacky like this that you don't really want. I mean, I guess in this case it'll be fine, but you see all the trouble it's causing where it's fighting each other and it's flipping to the wrong side of the fabric. We don't want that. We want it to be nice and straight. So straight lines, everybody. That's not what I wanted to do, but I'm okay with it. So I'm going to create a straight line inside here to give you a better example. Click and shift this here, and we're going to connect it to this crooked so you can see. Usually it fights itself and then it glitches and it's all bad. It don't usually look this pretty. I guess it's because I got a better graphics card now. Alright, but I'm going to rearrange this and we're going to straighten out the lines. So we're going to select this button right here, and it is our seam editing. And we're going to right click on that seam and we're going to do reverse, and it's going to give us straight lines, and it's going to go proper how it's supposed to be. Ball o fabric. Yes, you don't want the ball o fabric. So that. And real quick, while we're here, since people are talking about the other students in this are talking about ruffles, secret to making ruffles, just like in real life, is to have the material longer than the seam that you're sewing it to. So if we have this at the top, if we were to sew, no, not that. So if we were to sew this piece of fabric that's the same length as our host fabric like this, it will sew onto it and just make a bit of a border, which isn't good. If we want it to become a ruffle, all we have to do is select the edit tool, grab the end of the fabric, hold down shift so that it's straight, and then just slowly pull it out. And you'll see that it will start to ruffle up. you always want to do it a little bit at a time. Never like super long there. Oh, thank you. Oh, and if your host is frozen, you want to make sure that you unfreeze it first. Then put it on there. I mean, this is going to be a whole mess right now because it's not. It was just hovering in the air, but you saw what I was getting at, and that's how you make ruffles. So let us begin with the actual tutorial part, and that is how to make a basic t-shirt and a pair of pants. This is the signature here at Mighty Ginkgo, and I promise you, once you learn how to get the understanding about how these are made, it's just everything else just click. Because once you know how to make a t-shirt, you can make a bodice for a dress. If you know how to make a pair of pants, you can make shorts and stockings. Or I really don't suggest the stockings. That's a pain in the ass that can just be done in Blender. But, so on and so forth. Okay. Are you ready? Let's crack those bones, stretch it out, pop that chest. All right. Let's make a t-shirt and a pair of pants. Now here we are making a pair of pants, and there it can go from being sort of, what do you call the word, complicated to super simple. We're going to try the simple route, and then we'll expand onto it. So, first thing we want to do is go to our edit pattern, and we want to go to the middle line. This right here is called, this line that goes right through the center of your avatar is called your fold line. You usually want to work on a fold line, especially if you're going to make something symmetrical, because it saves time and you know that it's even. So for a t-shirt, we want to start at the very top where the neck is and how deep we want the collar to come down to. So somewhere around here at the clavicle. Then you want to hold down shift, because we can't make a straight line, and this will enable the guideline so that you can snap and keep your stuff straight. And you want to make the shirt this line as long as you want the t-shirt to be. Click. I try to keep my shirts somewhere up high to make it easier with rigging. You don't want to make it too low, because then you got to worry about the let me zoom in some more and explain it better. So prime t-shirt is about here at the clavicle and maybe just a little bit below the belly button. When you start getting down here into the pelvis where the legs come into place, like usually you can just get away with it like right here. But if you were to go any lower than this, then you have to start worrying about blending weights between the pelvis, the leg, and the other leg. And that's a whole nother can of worms that you really don't want to get into if you can avoid it, because then that's like a dress, and then the blender. But I got a trick for that to make it easier for you to do so, and it's just simple. It's just you gotta worry about working with another blender. So for the sake of ease here, we're going to keep the shirt somewhere around her navel area. So back to where I was saying, we're going to click on it and make your first dot in the middle of the neck. Hold down shift and go somewhere around here where you assume the belly button is at. Then we're going to go over to the left, just outside the hips. This dictates how tight the shirt is to the body. So a little bit, maybe a quarter square in. Then we want to go under the armpit, then up to the shoulder, over the shoulder, over the shoulder, and then a diagonal line back to the first button. And this is going to give you the panel for your shirt. Now, in other versions, we could just draw out the entire shirt by doing the same thing that we just did, but going down the arm and dictating how long you want the sleeve to be. And this will also create a t-shirt pattern. I prefer this method where you can draw the bodice of the t-shirt and then add the sleeves on separate. That way, if you want to use the pattern later on and stretch how wide you want the sleeves to be, maybe you want, puffy sleeves or something like that, you can edit it easier without edit the sleeve area without affecting the entire bodice. So that's why I stopped teaching the simple t-shirt one, because I gotta go over and teach you the real t-shirt one, so I might as well do the real t-shirt. So let's go back to the real one that we have here. So that's neat. So you go here, and we want to go back to our center fold line here in the middle. We want to right click, and we want to press unfold, and this will give us a full panel here, and an extra dot which we need to delete. So once we have the front of our shirt, we're going to click on it again, and then copy, and then paste, and then that's that. And then we're going to take our create rectangle, and we're just going to make 2 rectangles. The good thing about this is that we don't have to follow the rules of actual t-shirt making, where we need the, like arms to avoid pointies. 3D don't work like that. We don't gotta follow that. Just draw the squares. So we got some for side A, and then we're gonna right click on it again, copy, and then paste so that we have side B. So these are all the parts that make up a t-shirt: front panel, back panel, sleeve, front, sleeve, back, that stuff. Now, next step is fun, and because she is white and these patterns are white, it can be hard to see everything. So we're going to give these their own color, which in turn gives each one of these their own material. So, yay! So what I want to do is go over to this fabric panel right here, and then at the top it says color, and we're going to change it from bone white to like something we can see, like pink, and then give the sleeves a different color, red. Ooh, that's harsh. Alright, so we got this and this, and it's time to assemble. So grab a pattern that you decide is going to be your front. Now, if you are one of those crazy people who get confused by seeing the things around and you need things labeled, you can actually label the pattern here. So I think it's right here in the info button. You see the pattern name. We can change this to front, and then to make sure that we can see it, we just right click inside here, and it says show pattern name, or you can press shift in, and it shows you the names of the pattern so you don't get confused about what is what. So we know this is the front, this is the back, and those are sleeves, so we don't really need to name all those. But if we're gonna do it, sleeve. Did I just copy? Sleeve 2 pattern. Yeah, I'm a little lazy. Okay, so now we know which is which, and we can start working. Time to assemble the pattern. Now, you have to assemble the patterns as close to your bodies as possible. So we want to put sure that the front of the garment is in front of the avatar. We don't want it to be all the way out here, like, oh, that's the front and this is the back here. When it comes and drapes in midair, it's got a tendency to try to drag and like, what's that word? Calculate drag and wind and gravity, and it's going to go down and up, and next thing you know, you got the shirt on your face. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that it's right in front of the body where you want it to be. So close the better, but possibly not going through. A little nip slip is fine. We can always pull that out. Now there's a glitch in this thing that you need to take heed of, that whenever you place a garment, I'm not sure if they fixed this in the newer versions, but I know in this one it is not. So whenever you place a garment pattern behind the avatar, you have to make sure that you flip it. Yes, hold on, I'm about to get to particle distance. Give me a minute. Alright, here we go. So you want to make sure that it's behind you, and when the pattern goes behind your back, you just right click and do flip horizontally. Now you can see that this is darker than this, and that represents the wrong side of the fabric. If you were to just put the fabric behind the avatar without flipping it, the back side of your patterns, of your mesh, will be invisible in world. So you want to make sure that you always flip it so you don't have invisible clothes. And we're going to do the same thing and position the sleeves. So we have this over here. Because it's behind, we're going to flip it and then do the same thing. This in the front, this in the back, here, and flip it. Alright, now that we got that done, it's time for us to start sewing. So let's grab that segment sewing tool and start sewing all of our lines straight. Now you want to make sure that you don't sew your armhole closed. You want to sew the tops of your sleeves together. And then you want to sew the sides to the shirt. And here as well. Side, side. Welcome back. Making sure that your lines stay straight. Alright, so this and that and there. This right here. Whoops, twist it. Come on, click. Okay, sometimes you just gotta make it twisted, and then you select the edit seam lines, and then you right click on it, and then just say reverse and make it straight. That's a lot faster than trying to fight with it. And then sew your sides here, and your side here. Perfect. Do some final adjustments. Oh no, it's not perfect. We're totally missing the things. Alright, now we got everything square and straight. All we gotta do is press play. Oops, no. Close as we can. Not inside the body. And then we press play. And you see now we have a t-shirt. Ta-da! So you can manipulate the shirt and by the pattern if you want to. We can take this back here and make it straight. If it goes inside the body, just pull it out and let it snap. And you can adjust the collar by deleting the center dot right here, grabbing our curve tool, and then make this little line here so you get a smoother neck if you want to. Now, that's how you make a t-shirt. Now, somebody just asked a question in the class about a thing called particle distance. And I'm going to explain that real quick so you understand what they're talking about. So, Marvelous Designer has okay. Let me get some water and then let me explain. I didn't mean to sniff in your ear like that. I'm not trying to check how sweaty you are after going through that ordeal. Okay, so one of the things that sorry, it's been a while since I did a tutorial. Mouth is kind of going. Whew. The best way to explain particle distance is to explain how Marvelous Designer works. When you are creating mesh inside of a 3D program, you have what are called triangles. Now, triangles make up the web that is the mesh. A single triangle, a bunch of triangles together can create the square. In fact, let me see if I can get wireframe in here. It's been a long time since I've done this. Show pressure, show lines. I never had to look at the wait. Oh, that's what the avatar. Hang on. Okay. All right, here we go. See these little thingy-limajigs here? These are called polygons or triangles in this instance. And this is how Marvelous Designer generates its calculations and how things work. So what is a simple square to us is a ton of triangles to make it up to. These triangles in Marvelous language are called particles. And the further away or higher the number, the less triangles that it uses. And the lower the number, the more densely packed the triangles are. At the moment, we have a default value of 20 distance between each other. Now, let's say we were to change this from 20 and reduce it to 40. You'll see that the density of the triangles has lessened, thus making it lighter in triangles. Now, if we were sadistic as F and give it something inside the single, something like 10, you'll see that the triangle density increases extremely, and it makes the poly count of the garment go up. Now, with more triangles, gives you a better simulation inside the game, inside Marvelous Designer. And people tend to say that that means that the mesh is higher quality. However, the higher and denser the mesh is, the heavier the strain it is in Second Life. To put that into perspective, one default Second Life avatar, like the default roof, is about 9 to 10K in triangles, give or take. Now, The Sims and I keep saying Second Life, but like the Second Life engine. The Sims and the Second Life engine were originally designed to hold about 10 to 20 people max. So if you have a garment, so that's like 10 avatars. No, I'm mathing. That means that I have to use a calculator because math is not my forte. So here we go. For the sake of argument, let's just give it a nice round number. Even though roof is about 9,000 triangles, let's just say that for heaven's sake she is 10,000. Now that is the default roof. Like, oh, computer. This avatar right here, the one that nobody uses, that the game was designed for, is about 10K. Let's just say that, because that's with the skirt and the flexy hair and all that stuff. 10K. A sim is designed to hold 10 to 20 roofs at a time. So let's just say 20 roofs. And it gives you this number right here. About 200, right? Nobody uses that anymore. Everybody uses designer bodies. And the average designer body is about 45,000 naked. I mean, just the body, hands, not even including the fingernails or the toenails. Just straight 45. So you have that, plus an additional, I'd say about 5K for the per hand. So 5K for hand left to have nails. Oops. Plus 5,000 for the other hand. Let's be generous, 3,000 for eyelashes. God knows how much. So let's say 1,000 for a mesh eyeball, plus another 1,000 for the other mesh eyeball. So this plus 2,000, for the eyeball. And if you have ever seen hair in Second Life, it's easily another 20K. So 20K for hair. Oh, for fudge's sake, plus 20. You're looking about, 79K just to have a naked avatar with nails and toenails and mesh eyeballs and mesh eyelashes and mesh hair. And so already we are divided by 10. we are already 7 avatars heavy on a sim. So you want to keep your clothes that you create as low as possible to reduce the strain. Because just standing there naked with all your accessories, with just bare minimum accessories and hair, you're already 7.9 avatars heavy in a sim that can only hold 20. So keep that in mind when you're making your clothes. You want to make sure that it is as easy on the system as possible, because when you just overload it with heavily dense mesh clothes, you make the sim lag. Not just for you, but for everybody else around it, and it puts stress on the system, which you don't want to do. Does that make sense? So I can't exactly say what is an ideal particle distance. It all depends on your judgment and what you are making. You want to ideally keep it as light as possible, and there's no reason why it should be anything lower than 15, but that's your prerogative as a designer. I hope that explained it. 15 or 20 is pretty standard. Yeah, I usually go 20 myself, but you want to keep things simple if you can. Like, if you're making something like a t-shirt, there's no reason that your t-shirt has to be, that dense. You can still get away with something like 20 or maybe even 25. Okay, now let me troubleshoot something with you real quick, because something just happened. You see how the nips here keep poking out no matter how much we try to pull on it? Now, back in the day, we used to say just increase the particle standard and then the particle distance, and then that would fix it. But we later found out that you can adjust how sticky your clothes are to the body, as well as change the offset if the clothes suits the body. So what you want to do is right click on your body, and then you want to go to avatar properties, and then you see this thing called skin offset and skin friction. The higher the offset, the more the mesh is like away from the body, like so, kind of a gap, so it's like scrubs. But nipples always poke through. Nothing you can do can ever stop a nipple from poking through. That's just marvelous design. But you can do that to push it away to help combat it, so it don't happen as much. Let's fix this shirt. Correct. Or you try adjusting the fabric. So let's get back to the main thingy-majig here, and that is making some pants. So pants are fairly easy to do. All you need to do is the same thing like we did with the shirt, and that is grab your edit polygon tool thingy here, go as high as you want your stuff to be. I have had people who made waistbands for their pants first, and then they made their pants. That's optional if you want to, but you don't have to. So these are basically just tights, really. So anyway, start at your middle of your pelvis here, go down to your crotch, hold down shift so that we can get a nice straight line. Then you want to make a reverse L to the right, and then you want to go down however long you want your pants to be. We usually just make capris, so we stop right here. Go over to how tight you want the pants to be. Go up to your hip, which is usually like right here to the first marking. Then we slide on up and to your hip. What's this? Your waist. Yeah, your waist. Then we hold down shift and connect the dots. And so now we have a pant leg. So you want to rearrange the pattern if it falls to the ground. So we got our pattern here, and we want to select this button right. No. Jumping ahead of myself. We want to select the white arrow, and we want to go back to our middle fold line like we did before, and we want to right click and then do unfold. You want to get rid of this extra dot that forms in the crotch and the one that's at the top so that we have nice straight lines. So just like before, we're going to right click on our front pattern and we're going to go to copy and then paste so that we have a pair of pants. So you have your front and your back, and we're going to take our back panel and then wiggle it around here to the back side of our person. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it so that the right side is facing the right way and the inside is facing the inside. And like before, we just grab our segment sewing and then select the edges and go around here and here and then here and here. Wiggle in between the crotch. You don't want to have an open crotch in your pants. Ugh. And then you want to go to this leg, to that leg, to that leg, and then this hip to that hip. And then just like before, we're going to take our white arrow and push it close to the body to reduce drag time, and then press play and let it go on to the body. Now, as you see, well, you probably can't see because these pants are white, so we're just going to select the pattern here. Color, preferably not choosing a color that we already have picked, so maybe, green. Okay. Who has this color scheme? It's not Dora the Explorer. That's pink. This is like kind of Marge Simpson if she wore pants. So we have a bit of an issue here. You see how when we put the pants on, it's colliding with the skirt and kind of got skirt. It's colliding with this shirt, and you see that it's on top of it. Let's say you do not want the shirt to be tucked into the pants. You want the shirt to be outside the pants. This is where layering comes into play. So this thing has a layer system that allows you to dictate what part of the garment goes on top of what, starting at 0 and going up to wherever the maximum is. 0 being the absolute basic, which we're on now, and then 1 and up being it. So the higher the layer is, the more on top it is on the pattern. So we want the shirt to be outside of the pants. So we want to zoom on out, grab the black one and select all the parts of the shirt because you want to make sure everything is on the same layer. Then we go to fabric, and is it fabric? Yeah, fabric. Scroll all the way down to ETC, and where it says layer, we want to put 1, and then you see the shirt pops out and the pants go under the shirt. Now if you want the pants to stay and be dominant and go back into it, all you have to do is change the layer. If the shirt is on 1, then the pants would be on 2, and then you see that the pants go back on top. But that ain't what we want. But you know what? Why not? Let's have it. You can also do it like you can have the shirt tucked into the front of the, the shirt tucked into the front of the pants, but baggy on the back. You can also do that and then change which layers they're on, if that makes sense. But we want both of them on the same thing, so both of you guys on 2, and the shirt gets tucked in. Neat, huh? Alright, so now we have a shirt and a pair of pants. It's time for us to export and take this back into Blender. So to export, you do the following. You go to File, File, OBJ, and then we make this a basic outfit. And then we hit save. Now we want to make sure that we only have the cloth shape. We don't need the avatar because we already got that in Blender. Make sure to unify the UV coordinates, remove collapsed triangles, and welding is optional. I usually don't click it, but you can click it. Next, we want to make sure the scale is right, so we just press this M, and then we hit OK. And then that's it. Alright, so we're pretty much done with Marvelous. We can just close that if you want to, or lower it, whichever makes you. So close these calculators and this evil math. I'm going to press A and delete this to get this out of the way because we don't need a roof. Alright. It's still roof junk around. I'm just going to hit revert. Shoo shoo. Okay, so now we have our body and our bones ready. I want to bring in, I don't know what I want to bring in. Oh, the clothes. The clothes is what I want to bring in. So we got the clothes, desktop, and we want to select our basic outfit. And you see it's coming in just fine. I already see a problem with this, and we're just going to have to deal with it when we deal with it. Alright, so when we have our clothes on one layer, we're going to hold down shift and select the other layer, and you see the clothes go on it just like it was in Marvelous Designer. There's a bit of a gap here, but don't worry about that. One, it's in the alpha zone and world. Two, we can manipulate it later. So we have our shirt on, and we want to attach it to our skeleton. Now, back in the day, I used to tell you, well, once you have it in here and attach it to the skeleton, you just press Control P, and then you click automatic weights, and no. We don't do that no more. That is not how things work around here. We do things differently. The new way of doing it is by selecting your unrigged mesh, going over here. I'm going to scoot all this over so you can see. Select the wrench icon, which is also known as the modifier. And you want to add the armature modifier from the list to your garment. And then select, this one right here, main skelly. Number 1. This one, main skelly, number 1. If you ever get confused and wondering which skeleton is the right skeleton to select it to, always just press the eyedropper that's right here, and then you can just select the skeleton. It's a skeleton like that, and it will snap it to it. So this skeleton is attached to our body. Our garment is now attached to the skeleton. However, if we were to go into pose mode and we try to move it, you see nothing happens. And if you remember what we said earlier, this is because this has no weights on there, so the bones have no authority over this mesh. It's completely blank. So I'm going to start showing you those shortcuts I was talking about earlier to help you rig easier. So one thing I want to do now is I want to switch over to my other blender like I was talking about before. So with everything set, we're going to go to File and Save As, and then go to your project folder, which is my desktop. And I'm just going to name it something, like push the plus button so that it's version 1 and not saving over the original one. Then I'm going to open up my Blender 7.2. Wait for it. She's an old blender. She takes a second. Okay, so we got Blender 7.2 we're going, and I want to go to File, Open, go to my project folder, choose the one with the 1, and bring it in. So this is the fun part, weight transfer. What weight transfer is pretty much self-explanatory. We are going to transfer the weights from product A to product B to make rigging it a whole lot easier so we don't have to do each and every single bone by itself. It's awesome. And then after Blender 7.2, they changed it and broke it, and it never worked the same since. So that's why I use 2 blenders, because this one had a good thing going and Blender ruined it. And no matter how many bricks I throw at they blender, they won't change it. So that's why we just come back in this. Okay, let the weight transfer begin. I feel like we gotta put goggles on first, like those mad scientists. And I'm like, hit the switch! Goggles, everyone. Okay, so now that we have it here in our old blender, we are going to select the body. Now you want to make sure all the parts of the body that you want to transfer the weights from are connected together during this transfer. In some dev kits, the torso is separate from the feet and separate from the hands, or separate from the pelvis and everything. So you just want to make sure that everything that you want to transfer weights from is selected. And it is, because we are within range here. What else is no? Once the body is joined in a way that we want to, we want to press A. Wait, do I have a display? Okay, we have display. And I may have to make it bigger, so no questions for a second, so you guys can see properly. Okay. So we want to press A a few times and deselect everything. Then we want to select the body first. No, not the bones. The body. Now you always want to select the body first. Never the clothes, always the body. Select the body so that it's highlighted orange. Then we want to hold down the shift key, and then we select the garment. It's source, then target. Body, then clothes. Always in that order. If you were to do clothes first, then body, you would be transferring the empty weights from the garment to the rigged body, removing all the weights and breaking it. So you don't want that. Body, then clothes. So body, shift, clothes. Next step is that we're going to go to weight paint. And you see that it's all blue because there's no influence here. You want to scroll down to where it says transfer weights. And you want to have it all nearest face, all. Now when you select the legs, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. You see now the weights from the body have transferred to the garment, like this. And you don't have to do any of the weights. Now the fun thing is, you don't have to have it restricted to just the body. In fact, if you had, let's say we made a skirt. In fact, I think I still got Marvelous open real quick. No, that's Photoshop. All of these icons look the same. Okay, so real quick. Let's say we have a skirt. And to make a skirt real quick, we just need a waistband, tie around, sink, flip, put it behind here. I could do a pencil skirt, like a what you call it, circle skirt, which would have been a lot faster, but Control V, flip, put it behind you like this. Then you sew here and here, here and here, that right there. Oops. You can make a skirt real quick. Put it close, put it to the butt. Move this closer and then press play. Because I'm rushing, I kind of dunked it up, but what I would have normally did was make the waistband first, then freeze it, and then put the skirt around it. So that would help it not be so ugly. I gotta pull this up. Also, one of the fun things about having garments with a very not dense particle distance is that it's not as stressful on your computer. So you find yourself a little laggy, you can turn the particle distance number up, make it low poly, and then once you are ready to export, you can like pause the simulation and then turn up the density of it. So this is a butt ugly skirt, but it's a panel. This would totally benefit from some curves. Okay. So let's say we got this skirt right, and right now it's really low poly. We could just select it, pause the simulation. And this is really good if you got a really bad computer that lags a lot and can't handle something at 20. You could just turn it to 20, click it real quick for it to straighten out, then pause it, and then you can export it how you want it to. Little tip right there. I do that a lot when it comes to ruffles. Ruffles is the only thing that requires a really low poly number, like, 5 or 10. Alright, so let's say we have a skirt for this lady, right? Skirt. And we bring that in. Okay, so we have a skirt. Ooh, and what a skirt. Jeez, the polys on this are high. I'm gonna have to decimate that later. But anyway, for demonstration's sake, we're just gonna pretend like we're not caring about the poly count. All right. So say we have a skirt, and we were to bring this in, and we do the weight transfer thing I just said, where you select the body, then the garment, and then you go into weight paint, and you transfer the weight. And then you're like, okay, it's weighted. Let me go and make it move. And you hold on. Madam, would you please cooperate with me? You go into pose mode and you move it, and oh wait, I forgot to give it the armature. Main skillet. Okay. So you go to move it, and it's like this. So I'm sure you all have encountered skirts like this because some people are lazy little jerks. What year is she at? I don't know what that means. But, you see, the reason why it does this is because the weights from the body is like a leg here, just leg. So it projected the leg weights with this gap here onto the skirt. So it's just like pretending that all of this is one leg and the other one is one leg, and it's giving you this. So what do? How do you fix this? How do you make this more skirt-like? You cheat. That's what you do. You cheat. It's not cheating if it helps you out. That's all I have to say about that. You go and you download and you find templates. How you get your templates, that's up to you. Find something a skirt or something similar with weights that you like, and then you use that as a template and you transfer the weights from it. Now, I don't know if this computer is still connected up the way I left it. Yes. Inside of the Avatarlife resources is a pack of templates that have simple rigging on it that will help you work this out. So what I'm going to do is look for a skirt. Regular skirt, relaxed. Now sometimes they come in super tiny, which is fine. You just press A and then press S and scale it. Hang on. Scale it up. Find your skirt. Sometimes it helps if you stretch the template to match. Alright, the butt is down here, so that's no good. You need to grab the butt, pull it where our butt would be. I'm using proportional edit, which is just edit mode, press S. The closer it looks to your template, the better. Yeah, good enough. And then select skirt first, template skirt, regular skirt, weight paint, weight transfer. So now when we try to move it, you see it moves a lot better. You still have to go in here and do some correctional weight painting, adjusting the heat and stuff at the temperature like I showed you before. But for the most part, it's better than having to redo the whole thing. Now, here is something to be aware of. One, I've effed up. Before you go transferring the weights in like that, you're going to want to remove all the weights that were there first. So I want to delete all the groups and then try that again. So this one, weight paint, transfer weights. So now you got this stuff. Now, I bet you're wondering, Zero, those are classic bones. Not a lot of things use that. They use fit mesh bones, right? Yeah. We have a way to fix that if you want to. You can take a classic garment and make it a fit mesh garment to help you get better fitting or so on and so forth. I personally like the classic bones because pretty much every avatar technically has weighting on classic bones that work with it, because these are the children of the fit mesh bones are the children of the classic bones. But I get what you're saying. You want your clothes to be fit mesh, and you don't got the time to how do we do that? Simple. We go to our Avatar tab. Then we go to scroll down here to vertex tools. Then we press A and select all of the bones. And then we press this button that says swap collision with deform. Classic blue bone, blah, 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 blah. It's such a tongue twister, blah blah. Classic blue bones are technically called collision bones. Red fit mesh bones are called deform bones. So when you press this button, it will switch the weights from the collision bones or the classic bones to the fit mesh bones or the deform bones. So we're going to press that button. What do you mean it failed to swap? Oh, I forgot. You don't select all of them. You select all of the collision bones and then you swap. So now, oh wait, I did it right the first time and then I reversed it. So now the collision bones are back to where they were at. Okay, so one more time. We want to select the collision bones. As you see, it's got weight on it because it's lighting up like a Christmas tree. Every time we go through it, we're going to press this button and then switch. There's no fanfare. It just does it. Then now when you select the fit mesh bones, you see they have the weight. And then you select the classic bones, it don't have the weight. Just be careful about where you assign and what to, because sometimes it could stretch in a way that you may not like. But overall, yeah, that's that. So now that we have all our stuff weighted, we need to go and do some troubleshooting, and I prefer to do that in the new one so I can export it without having to dance around in here. So we are going to go up to the top where it says File, and then we're going to hit Save. We're going to close out or minimize our old blender. I don't know if we need that or not. Open back up our new blender, Blender 7.9, and we're going to go to File, Revert, and now it's got all our rig stuff here. Okay, so let's talk about the pants and t-shirts, because there was a problem there that we definitely need to fix. There we go. So if you have your avatar and you are moving your leg and you notice that some of the mesh from leg A is coming over here to leg B every time it moves, that means you have fallen victim to the dreadful sticky pants. Now, sticky pants is a pain in the ass that's plagued us for many a years, and it's all the designer's fault. It ain't your fault. It's the designer's fault. This happens when you are trying to transfer weight from a target that is too close together. In our layman's term here, the thighs be too thick and Blender couldn't separate the two. So it's not your fault. It's the thighs are too thick. See, they're close together, and all they give you is this super tiny gap in here. Now, when you go to put pants on, not the skirt. All right, when you go to put pants on, you see the fabric wraps around the leg, and there's not a lot of room for the two to be separate with. Now, if they would have made a bigger thigh gap in here or something like that, then you would be square. But because they didn't, you're not square. So I'm going to use proportional editing and connect it and try to push this to the side and this to the side just to make it easier during rigging time. This is also something that we could have did as a pre-step to prevent this from happening, is by pulling the legs over. Yeah, you will have clipping, but they won't be sticking. So you got two options. We could do exactly what we're doing now, pulling the mesh over like so that it's inside the leg and then there's a gap for Blender to do its thing. Or we can try to troubleshoot and, do it manually. This is also one of the benefits of having mesh that's low poly, because you can clearly see the big triangles. If it was a really densely packed mesh, you would have lots of little triangles to sort. So let me show you how to sort it, and then we could probably just go back and fix it on the other one. So what we need to do is first go into pose mode like we're here now and select the bones and spread the leg apart like this so that we get a nice cheese spread here. The better the cheese spread, the easier it'll show you. Where the cheese or the mesh here is pointing, like this point right here, it will point and pull in the direction of what has power over it. So that will give you a good idea about what is causing it to F up. So basically the triangles are pointing in the direction of this leg. So that means that weights from this leg, either this bone right here or this fit mesh bone, are calling on this side of the pants when it should be staying on its own side. To fix this, we need to go into weight paint mode now. So weight paint, and then select the leg bone that we suspect is a troublemaker. We're doing the hip right, and as you can see, it's not that. So we're going to go to the fit mesh bone right here, and you can see that is the offender. It's got red on this side when it should only have red on this side. So all we have to do is go in here with a brush, go to tools, turn the weight down, get a good radius in there, and then just remove its influence from it. And you can see it snaps back. Now sometimes you may clip your side of the proper side and make it lose weights, and that's bad. So we're going to press this little button right here called the face selection tool, which allows you to edit little faces while you're working. So we can just go like this, and you can see as we roll our cold water over these hot peaks, the leg loses its influence and it comes back to where it belongs. Also, same way, we can turn the heat up and then make it go back to on this side where it belongs. Now we just press M again to turn off the masking, so that helps you remember M for the masking. And we can switch over to this side and then do the same thing. Remove the weights from here, and you see the stickiness goes away. Turn the weights up here because that's where it belongs. And that's how you get rid of it. Now I know you see you got a giant hole right here in your pants, but no worry. I'm just going to select this to make sure that nobody else is pulling over there. Y'all on your side? Cool. So all we have to do is pull the legs apart, click on them, go into edit mode, the pants. Excuse me. Select the pants. Go into edit mode. Now when you go into edit mode, it automatically snaps back. So we need to go to the wrench, and you want to select these two boxes right here. And that will make it line up in edit mode properly. Then we want to go to the vertex select, which is this little box down at the bottom next to the face and edge select. We want to turn on proportional editing and then select connected. We want to select this little dot and pull out the pants like this. Now dig in there deep, press G. If you find that you're going on the back side, you can press this button right here, which will turn the limit selection to visible. Makes it a little bit easier to see. You just want to pull it out like a bad wedgie. And there you go. Do the same thing over here. And right there. Now I'm going to dunk it all up by using smooth, because every time I put something in Marvelous Designer, I always feel the urge to smooth it out. And if something goes clippy, I just puff it here and then, do that. Alright. So now when we go and move it, you see no more stickiness. Yay! So here we go. You move this, you move that. And now you just rigged a t-shirt and a pair of pants. Troubleshooted it and did the thing. Alright, we're getting towards the end here. How long has this class been so far? We are 1 hour and 39 minutes in. That's pretty good, I guess. Alright, so now we have that done. It's time for us to go in and export it. So once you feel like you got everything done, sometimes this happens. You see how when we're in sculpt mode, smooth, right? Actually, I want to smooth this out some more. I hate hard wrinkles. Alright, so I want to pull that down. So we're in sculpt mode, nice and smooth. We're going to edit mode, harsh. That's because we have to go and change the object data. So when that happens, we want to come over here. Where is that object data? Is it? Hang on. I think it's the square. Is it the square? It's been so long. Let's see. Delta transform, relationship, terms for walks. No. It's not that. Normals? Okay, there we go. So you want to press this button right here. This one is the object data. It's like a down pointing triangle. And you want to open up the tab that says normals and it says auto smooth. We want to change it from 30 to 180. And you see that it goes back to being smooth again. You can keep playing with it and change it to what you think, but 180 is as high as it goes. If you go to negative, you can just play around and see what looks right. So 0% makes it completely fractured, and 180 smooths it out. Sometimes it would be blacked out, and if it's blacked out, you would just want to scroll down to where it says geometry data, and you want to press this button down here where it says add custom split normal data, but we don't need to because it's already filled out. So now it's broke. Oh, fudge. Broke it. So press that button again, and then you put it back to 180. Okay, we are getting somewhere. Okie dokie, artichokes, time for us to export. So, and before we go and rush over to hit that export button, we got to make sure that we clean out the rig and there are no extra bones that don't need to be here, because remember, there's a limit on how many bones you are able to import into the metaverse. 110, and they have 120 something they'll try to sneak on you. So what we do to get rid of that is that we select the garment, then we select the wrench. Is it the wrench? No. Back here in the data, the downward triangle, and we want to go over to this panel that says vertex groups. So once we're in this panel with this vertex group and you install that remove unused vertex group script I gave you, you want to see the downward pointing triangle and you want to push this remove unused groups. And it will clean out any groups that are in here that have no weights, that contribute to nothing. All those bum weights get thrown out. Hey, Allie. So once that's done, you just select the garment, and because it's an Avatar grid, you need to use an Avatar export. So file, export, Collada Avatar. And you don't really have to check anything. I would say just make sure that it matches this. For this body in particular, just make sure it has this. Apply armature scale, apply armature rotation and scale, weld edge normals, export with joints, only weighted bones, only deformed bones, include parent hierarchy, export second life rotation, and sanity checks. Go to normal, your product zone or whatever, and then export. Great. Now we're going to open up. Who is this? Oh, it's Stephanie. Hang on, I needed to talk to her. I think she might have blocked me off her friends, though. She did. I'm sorry y'all had to see that. I'll continue. Like, I hate that this person misunderstood what I said and is removing and blocking me like I did something wrong to them, and they're the ones that misunderstood what I said. So if anybody sees Stephanie or Callista Soulstar, tell her to stop being stupid and look at the damn video that I dedicated to her. I'm not being a jerk. But this is inappropriate and unprofessional, and I need to keep going with the class. No, this is not a newer version of Blender. This is an old version of Blender with an old version of Avatar. Alright, I'm sorry that y'all had to see that. That was very unprofessional, and I'm probably going to get in trouble because I wasn't supposed to do stuff like that. For this body, yes, you need Avatar. But it's in the dev kit, so. So I'm going to take this off. And we're going to... Oh, dingle. This is it. See, we got it here. I always turn my lowest to 0. My low to 0. Because nobody uses that. Bro, just download the dev kit. And then press calculate weight. Then upload. Then when you wear it, you got yourself some clothes. Yeesh, my thighs are all jacked. What is up with that? No, some of them are not Avastar. Some of them are not Avastar rigs, and you could just use plain Blender. You don't have to. I don't understand why that didn't change. So I'm gonna try apply rotation scale. Sorry. It just kind of threw me for a loop there. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I hate it. That's like so fucking unfair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why the pants are messing up like this. They usually don't. I don't know why the pants are messing up like this. They usually don't, but you can just edit the pants. And it's fine here in Blender. I don't know why it's doing this. You know, I wonder if it's because I wonder. I know you don't usually have to check that box with this. I'm sorry, Oh. I don't know why it's doing this. It wasn't doing this before, and I don't think I got enough brain right now to deal with it. I don't know. I hope that I did not accidentally, when I used smooth out the thighs and not the pants. So I made the pants go away. Nothing. Hang on. I hear a wheezing cat. God damn it. Look, I don't know what's causing it to do this. And I'm sorry. I don't really have the brain to do it now because that message just threw me for a hard loop. And I want to yell at her for misunderstanding because it's not fair. And I hate this because this is exactly what Send did and arrested him. Maybe I came back too soon. I'm sorry. Okay, so there are a little bit of clips and stuff inside the body. It's okay. We can spend forever trying to figure out why. We can figure out why, but the good thing is this body comes with a HUD. So all we have to do is put on our alpha HUD. Yeah, I'm sorry. So we can just put on our alpha HUD and we can alpha out the issue. So, viva technology. Let's put the rest of it on. So do the butt as well. And a bit of the boob that's messed up. so we're all alphaed out. Actually, we could be alphaed out a little bit better. So let's just take the chest and put the neck back down. So we got this and neck, and then we're in here good. Now normally your clothes will work out a lot better than this, and I really don't understand why it's not. But I want to hurry up and leave now. I'm sorry. So now all you do is texture. I'm not good at texturing. But ideally, you could just take your pants, for example, and we can export them as an OBJ. Put on our desktop with only the selection selected, and make sure the right UVs and all the rest of that stuff is on. And then we're just going to name these pants and save it on our desktop. Then we're going to open up Photoshop and then go to File, Open, and find our OBJ. Its shirts are usually the thing I like to do the most more than pants, because you can put decals on there. So let's make something. It's going to use the material color that we use as the base, and that's this bright ass green pants. And we're just going to double click, and we're going to create a texture onto here, and go back and just paint on it. This is the Poor Man's Substance Painter. So you want to paint your design on the pants. Yeah, it's CS5. CS5, yeah, extended. So maybe not go with all black. 75% gray. Okay. And if you're drawing details on your pants and you notice that your lines are a little bit crooked, like sometimes they come out chalky like this, you can just go back into the texture, and we want to change the image size to double, even triple of what it is. So image size is right now is 1024. Oops, sorry. 1024 times, let's just say 5. 5120. So 5120. That's way big. 5120, 5120. Now you're just gonna resize it when you're done, because of course Second Life is gonna the Second Life engine won't allow you to import textures that big. So now when you go to paint on it again, you see that the lines are nice and smooth. So let's say, like, if you're gonna have a base, right, it's easier to just do this. So let's grab gray. Alright, so let's put a base all out there. Close this, close this. Now I'm gonna create a new layer. Close this. So you got a gray layer like this, right? Now we need a texture. So Ivy Vector. You know what? No. I want Kirby paint, damn it. With this right on the butt cheek. So you find the artwork that you want. If you want to put decals on there. I want Kirby. Did it download? So I'm going to drag this Kirby in here, right? Place. And then I'm going to use the eraser tool. Get rid of the background here. Let me use the 3D tools to rotate where I want Kirby to be. Right here on the butt cheek, because that's hella classy. So we grab a Kirby. Then you go to, where's the image? It's supposed to be, here you go, free transform. Shrink Kirby down to where he wants to be. Right there on them cheeks. Like that. Hit apply. And then you just merge down onto the layer. Wait for it. And now Kirby is on your butt cheek. Like this. You can put any picture you want here. It doesn't have to be Kirby. But I needed to laugh. And that'll do it. So once you have that there, all you need to do is just go back here. Here's your texture. And you save as desktop ping. Oh, wait, resize, because that will cause the Second Life engine to blow up. So resize. I forgot how to resize. How do you resize? Image adjustments, auto tone, image size. There we go. 1024 by 1024. It's super tiny now. Save as desktop and ping. And now select your pants, grab your material. I'm doing local. And then you put your thing on. And then on your butt, you see you have your Kirby. And that's pretty much it. So, besides having that unpleasant moment inside here, that's pretty much the class. You edit, you draw, you make the stuff. If there are if you like using Photoshop, right? And you need to paint, but like let's say you need to get in between these thighs here and you get in a stuck place. You just open up the 3D one and you want to do paint. Was it paint fall off? Yeah, and hit OK. Oh no, paint fall off isn't what you need. You need to, what? Hold on, let me remember. It's a ground plane, paint mode, paintable images. I forgot. There's something in the 3D that will help you out with this. And it's like it's in here. This one, cross section. And it'll cross it out for you. So it'll make one half invisible and you can paint on that and you can adjust how far it goes. So you can go like this if you want and make it go. Or you can tilt it around to paint the parts that you want. Dingo, I don't remember what the default. 0 is the default, right? And if this black is too much for you, you can change the transparency of it so that it's like this, or you can turn it completely off. And that gives you the inside of it so you can doodle all you want on the inside of the new exposed area without trying to paint in between the thighs. Like try to wiggle your brush in there. So you could just do that if you want to. And then paint. At least you turn it and get all the cracks and crevices that may or may not appear. I think it's the plane is brushing up against it. But when you go in here, it's like, there you go. And you can smooth it out in 2D if you want to, if you don't feel like doing it that way. Or doing this. And then, close it, turn off crossback. And there's your custom leg on one side. There you go. And that is how Hello Kitty Alright, so, oh, you're talking about the cat meowing in the background. Yeah, that. They're at war. Alright, you guys, that's everything. So, in this class that took forever, you learned about rigging, what rigging is, how to rig, how to make clothes, how to judge how dense your clothes will be, uh, put those clothes on your body, texture them. You got it all. This is for Second Life and Second Life alternative grids. But really, the method kind of works for every other kind of rigging and stuff. I mean, basically, it's the same thing for everything. You attach a mesh to a skeleton, add the weights, and then you do that. Ain't it? But it's actually really easy once you know the basics. So I think this will help you out. So I am going to skadoot because if my husband is still awake, I may be able to convince him to take me out on a date. Second Life clothes into my GTA 5. I have no way to help you with that. I'm so sorry. I can help you take clothes out of Second Life. That's easy. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to say so. This is supposed to be a legit stream. Shit. Oh well. Roro. Look, check the description. Check the description. Please check the description of this video. For Laura X. Do you need Avatar for Laura X? Athena, Laura. Nah, you don't need Avatar for Laura X. That's a non-Laura dev kit if you got mine. I'm not smart. Yes, you are. Don't say that. I've seen dumb, and you don't strike me as dumb. So go check out the description. Okay, so I gotta do my outro, y'all. Hush. Okay, everybody, and that wraps it up for today's tutorial. It was a little bit longer than what we're used to, but we had a whole lot to cover, and I hope that by watching this and hanging out with us that you are able to make clothes and make your dreams come true, and your projects go a lot easier. I don't know. I just wanted to help. So once you open up your store, remember that I helped you with this stuff, and that I like donations, either in the form of money or juice. I don't want to say I'm kidding, but I'm not. Alright, so make sure you check out our Discords. We have one for Avatarlife, and we have one for our Second Life stuff, the Mighty Ginkgo Discord. It's in the community tab on my YouTube, so you can check that out if you want to. If you're following along with this video, just watching it first to see if you like it, remember to download all of the materials that we used, and it's going to be inside the description. So everything that I have here, you can have too, without having to go hunt for it or pay for it, because I put it in there for you. And I really do hope that this helps you out and your projects come out well. So good luck, have fun. Remember, if you got problems, ask them in the comment section or put them inside of the proper question area of my Discord. No messaging me directly with questions. We don't do that no more. But if you're calling me to say hi and you want to show me what you did, I'm always happy to see those. So until next time on our next class, because we have still got the Toxic Gods. We only touched the Toxic Goddess. We still have Aries. We still have Apollo. We still have Adonis. And, men. Well, that's going to be something. So until then, I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a great day. Good luck on your projects, and